All right. Well, good evening, Purium Tribe. Leslie here. It is Tuesday, January 12th. I'm excited to be with you as I always am on Tuesday nights. We have a really special agenda set up for you this evening. In just a few minutes, you're gonna hear from Crown Leader Ra, who's our special guest this evening. Ra, if you'd like to say hello to our guests.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Yep. Well, I'm pitching it back to Ra in just a moment. A few things I want to do ahead of time. First of all, I want to remind you about building on the activity from December. And we're moving into January now. We're gaining on mid-month. You know, there's always three parts to every month. There's 3 times of the month when you purposefully pay attention. It's how you jumpstart the month, it's how you meet mid-month volume goals, and it's how you close the month. So here we are, January 12th, getting ready to move into January 15th, that mid-month time. And so that's the perfect time to really step back, look at the data, see where you and your team are. Where are you in sponsoring? Where are you with new customers? Are you in the green? How are you with Fast Start? What's your why and your reach bonus? Like what's your UBT 2021 status? Are you earning it this week? I mean, mid-month goals are critical. How you work the first couple of weeks really plays a key role, dictates actually how you close out the month. And this isn't just January, this is every single month. So I wanted to mention mid-month, and I also want to talk a little bit about momentum before I pitch it over to, I'm going to do like the first part of this call, and then I'm going to pitch it over, and Ra's going to do the second part of this call. You know, we've heard a lot. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard either me or corporate or someone in your upline or somebody talking about momentum. Put a 1 in the chat if that's something you've been hearing recently. Momentum within Purium, momentum within your team. Okay, so, you know, it's fascinating to me that people talk about momentum. They don't really understand it, perhaps, or don't see it in how it really works within our profession. Like you get momentum if you're an athlete, right? Momentum, you hear about athletes peaking right before the Olympics, right? That, you know, they've been practice, and then they want to peak. They want to have that momentum right before the big event, right? Or someone who's committed to a health program, you know, once they lose a few pounds or once they start exercising, once they change their eating habits and they start to get into a rhythm, get into a momentum, and the weight starts coming off a little faster and they start feeling a little better. Or people engage in creative expression. If you've ever learned to play an instrument or taken a dance class, or, you know, when I look at the hobbies that I really loved, I was a skeet shooter for many years. And my skill through practice and getting into momentum. I did indoor rock climbing for many years, and same thing. I would find momentum through skill and practice and consistency. And now with my cycling, I notice a real momentum happening in my confidence and my skills and my abilities. So it just comes with practice and consistency and discipline. You get to experience momentum. Well, I want to take a few minutes and talk about momentum in terms of a network marketing business. First, well, there's 4 concepts quickly I'm going to share with you in terms of momentum in our profession. First of all, it's created. It's not random, and it doesn't happen by accident. It is created. And the fastest way to create momentum is short-term massive action, a short-term period of time with a higher level of activity. And we have seen that. I think Widen Your Reach is a great example of a promotion that promotes short-term massive action. I think the UBT 2021 is another promotion that supports short-term activity, getting into that rhythm of 3 every single week. And now whether it's customers or whether it's brand partners, that creates momentum. Our Fast Start program is another example of short-term massive action, taking action your first 10 days, qualifying for Fast Start consultant, and then director, and then executive on your way to diamond. So when I think about creating momentum in our profession, I always got to talk about a 90-day game plan. and the importance of being consistent and having a game plan around a 90-day plan. Now, sure, 90 days fits the calendar and the seasons, but there's some really tangible, proven reasons why 90-day plans work. First of all, it's not too long. It's not as if I'm looking at Ashley and saying, Ashley, man, you got to do this for a year. And I mean, kind of like, we got to do this for a year. No, I'm saying we're going to do this for 90 days. Anybody can do anything for 90 days if you care enough. So 90 days is important that it's not too long. We can all get our head around it. And yet it's long enough. It's long enough that through consistency over 90 days, you will increase your skills. You will see the results. So you will improve your confidence. You will improve your results, and all that duplicates. So 90 days is just this magical time period. So again, most of us can do anything for 90 days. A great way to get unstuck, if you're feeling stuck or on a plateau in your business, is commit to a 90-day plan. That's always one of the first things I say to people if they've been stuck or plateaued at a title or a volume, is short-term massive action to move off that plateau. So first of all, momentum is created. Number two, momentum is earned. Like, it is earned. Okay, just like I say, when somebody promotes a title, they didn't win. They didn't win their title. They didn't win a higher paycheck. They earned it. So momentum is earned. And when you begin to experience, which I believe we are in Pure, I'm like, we're just at the starting place. When you begin to experience that heat of momentum, it was that consistent activity that lit the fire. In our profession, when you get a yes today, when you see momentum today, when you see growth today, when you sponsor that new person today, you sign up that new customer today, you earn that UBT today, they are all a reflection of activity that happened most likely 30, 60, 90 days ago. Like, that is a culmination of consistent activity. So momentum is earned through constant, focused activity. Momentum is earned. You don't need 40 hours a week. You need consistent, disciplined, focused activity. Okay, number three, momentum transfers and attracts. This is one of the coolest things about it. And this is what we're going to see with this company as we go through the next 12, 24 months. It transfers and it attracts. You transfer momentum by working with people or setting an example for others. Your results, your personal results, will do more to inspire others. When I'm talking to the top leaders in this company, when UBT 2021 came out, we had a green diamond and above call last week. One of the first things I said when UBT 2021 came up in a conversation, I said, you've got to do it yourself. And a lot of the leaders I talked to, when I was talking to them personally, I said, look, you want to really lead by example? There's 4 weeks in this month. How many weeks are you going to earn it? 1 out of the 4, 2 out of the 4, 3 out of the 4? I don't care, but you must set the example. And this is for all of you. You don't have to be a top leader for this rule to apply to you. Do you want to earn UBT 2020 in 1 week this month, 2 weeks this month? You must set the example. That's transferring momentum. So we've seen firsthand how momentum can transfer to the members of your team. That's why we set an example, and everything transfer. But momentum attracts also. Your confidence, enthusiasm, passion that's created literally attracts people to you. People want to be with winners. And it's this undeniable energy. I always call it having a good hair day. We're having a good hair day, man. And no matter what we say or how we say it, people are like, oh my gosh, I'll have what she's taking, right? I'll have what he's having. Like, it's that energy that's undeniable, irrefutable, inignorable. You just got to know what's going on. And you create that attracting energy through your activity that creates a success. Yeah, winning is hot for sure, Rowan. And I leverage this concept every day. Like, I'm a believer in attraction. So every morning, one of the things I say to the universe, I get centered, I get quiet, and I probably put on a little oil that I love, and I just kind of breathe, and I'm glad to be alive. And there's a phrase I say every single morning. And I say, the perfect people, situations, and opportunities will present themselves, and I'm going to be open and aware to welcome them. And I say that every single day, right? The perfect people, situation, opportunities will present themselves today, and I'm going to be open and receptive to welcome them. I want to be open and receptive to the perfect situations, right? So we're attracting. Number 4, momentum expands. And again, if you saw our future, your future, through my eyes, you would not sleep. Like you would be sharing the mission of Purium every second, 24 hours a day. That's how clearly I see your future. Momentum expands, and it is not the destination, my friends, but rather who we become on the journey. And while momentum is building, this is the time. This is the time to get laser focused. This is not the time to be complacent. As momentum begins to rise, being complacent or slacking off or thinking other people are going to do it, that's the biggest mistake inexperienced people make. They get that first sense of momentum and like, oh, shoot, man, I got this handle. Like now the team is going to do it. No, the minute you feel momentum, this is the time for what I call to professionally push forward. Now, I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't mean pushing people to do something they don't want to do. I just visualize the rock or the snowball, right? Your vision, your dream, you're professionally pushing it forward. Like you're claiming your business, you're taking action. The minute you get the slightest sense of momentum, you want to kick it up to a higher gear. Like it's if you've ever been camping, if you've ever started a fire, right? Like a real fire, you've got the little schmutz and then it just starts a little smoke and we're blowing on it, we're blowing on it, we're blowing on it. And all of a sudden it lights, bursts into flame, right? So when you see the smoke, we don't back away and say, well, let's just see if it can make itself a fire. No, like we nurture it, we blow on it, we play with it till it bursts into flame. Same, that's like perfect analogy. Like right now as a company, we've got the smoke coming out of the schmutz. We've got the smoke coming out of the base of the fire. We're just getting ready to nurture it and play with it and blow on it. And this thing is gonna blow into flame. This is my vision, and this is what I believe, and this is what I know for sure. So why do I want to open up tonight with momentum? Because knowing that as we stay consistent as a company, that we will continue to nurture this kindling and turn it into a raging fire. But in order to be able to sit with it, in order to be able to deal with it, in order to be able to keep our heart open and humility and gratitude and mentor and coach and get our really attract the right type of people, we've got to get our head in the game. We've got to get our mindset ahead of the fire. Right? So that our mindset and our confidence and our belief and our self-worth, that we are ready when this thing takes fire. So that is my setup for my friend Ra. And I want to turn it, first I just got to tell you a few words and then I'm just going to let Ra do his thing. I had the fortune of working with Ra during our emerging leader class. And I had asked him if he would be so kind as to share some mindset strategies with the emerging leader class we did. And I got to tell you, I was more than impressed. I took pages of notes. He just has a unique way. He's just well-spoken, really bright, and has a unique way of making a point, unlike I would say most anyone I've heard of in our profession. And it's a beautiful transition since he didn't come from network marketing, and his commitment to be a good student and to take all the cool, smart stuff in his head and become a good student and really be the best leader he can be. And it's just always a privilege to work with him. And so I thought, first, let's get solid on momentum. So let's put a 5 in the chat if you understand what I mean, how we're on the verge of creating momentum. We're not there yet. We're on the verge of creating momentum, and the importance of getting the proper mindset so as we burst in the flame, we can deal with it. And so this is where I'm going to turn it over to my friend Rod to share some of his top tips to get the mindset ready for an inferno. How about that, Ra?
What's up, everyone? Inferno. I was actually just going to use that as an example. You were talking about momentum, and you said that it's created and earned, right? And so the example I like to use to illustrate that is that power plants, when you think of power plants, you think of energy, right? But energy isn't just happening in a power plant, right? Power plants don't have energy. It has to be created. It has to be created through basically a lot of things need to align together. A lot of moving parts need to align together in order for that energy to be created. And it's the same thing with momentum. You don't just get momentum. You can't just look at somebody with momentum and say, oh, they have momentum because they are, that person. They created it, just like the power plants create momentum. And so segueing into the mindset of a crown, mindset is essentially everything. It is everything. I know people, and I'm sure you guys know masters, people that have a lot of life experience, a lot of skills, talents, and they're coasting financially, relationship wise, whatever ways you want to measure wealth. They're just underperforming, and you can see it in their mindset. And it's really sad for me to see. Of course, I'm not interjecting my opinion of what is right onto them. It's maybe sad isn't it's interesting. It's interesting for me to see people with so much talent, trade their life for something that I would perceive as less than what they're worth. And so when we come into network marketing, I really see only one way that this works, right? And it's to be successful. And if you're coming in and you're tiptoeing around, then I'd like to, use this time to maybe realign your mindset to success. And because that's what this whole thing is about. It's about us coming in and having a tool that we call network marketing with Purium to align people to success. Because for me, that's the closest thing to taking part in the ascension of the human race that I can think about, right? This isn't like regular business where you hire employees and you take advantage of them for as much as you can. You earn as much profit as you can of the employees. This is network marketing. We bring on partners. We bring on people from our own networks, our family, our friends, strangers we meet, and we offer them an opportunity to be great. So this talk is going to be on the components of being great within network marketing, because it is an equation. And just like all equations, if the parts of the equations aren't met, it is very unlikely that it's impossible that you're going to get the answer. And so knowing the equations of success are important. And so I've got I've boiled it down to 5 main subjects. And so the first one in network marketing. And so as Leslie said, I've got life experience outside of network marketing. So you'll hear a lot of analogies from the sports world because I was an athlete my entire life. And so within network marketing, to have the mindset of a crown, that's what I focus this on, is like, what does mindset of a crown mean? And so the first one is that you must embody the captain, the coach, the manager, and the cheerleader. Okay. And I'm going to break down what each one of these avatars are. And hopefully, we're all strong at, some of us might be a strong captain, but a poor manager, or a strong cheerleader, but not a very good captain. And so we're all going to be strong and weak at some of these, but we really want to make sure that we are tuning ourselves so that we are achieving excellence in all 4 of these capacities. So what is a captain? A captain is the worker. Okay. A captain on a team, they lead by example. They don't have power like the coach. They don't necessarily tell people what to do, but they lead by example. So within network marketing, the captain aspect of you is the one who is prospecting, enrolling brand partners, leading by example, putting people through Fast Start, supporting people through Fast Start, maybe even hosting events, going to events, showing up to training, the one selling product. Okay. It's the worker. All right. And I think a lot of us can align to that, because most of us come from the employee world, right? And we all just we know how to do. And that's the captain. And what's a little bit more difficult for a lot of us is the coach aspect. And the coach understands what needs to be done. Okay? And that's a big topic. What needs to be done in network marketing? You really want to understand what we are doing here. We want to know what our products are. And we want to understand what the grand strategy of how to achieve the sales of our products. And within network marketing, within Purium, we have two main products. The first product we have is superfoods. Okay. And as a coach, you want to understand that it is not our responsibility to produce the superfoods. It's not. We are not superfoods experts. The coach understands that we are responsible for the marketing of the superfoods. And as the marketing of the superfoods, we really want to understand how valuable we are to our company, and so that we can meet that value. And I like to get people aligned to how valuable the marketing department is to a traditional business. Okay, a traditional business, like a business that sells candy or cereal or cars. Okay, these you produce the products. There still needs to be this segment of business that is responsible for letting people know the value of the products and inspiring people to purchase the products. Okay. And that part of a traditional business is very, very, very valuable, to the point where they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on just producing commercials or Instagram pictures and campaigns and stories. There's tens or hundreds of people working on producing the campaign. And then there's buying the airtime, right? You have to buy the airtime, which the commercial goes on. And that could cost millions of dollars if you have nationwide commercials or worldwide commercials. That's what we are doing for Purium. That is our organization. As the coach knows that. And the coach knows that there's value in this job. And so we want to make sure that as the coach, you understand what the purpose we have, what the relationship we have to superfoods. Because the captain can be all about the superfoods and just inspiring people to take the same drink that I take. All right. They're leading by example, but we do need a part of ourselves that is aligned, that there's money involved here. There's big money involved here. And the only way that the ship stays afloat is if people are doing the correct jobs, which I'll get to as the manager. That's the manager's role, is to make sure that that's happening. So the other product that we have is business. Okay, so we've got one product of superfoods, and I was saying that the coach needs to understand our relationship to the superfoods. Okay, the captain can be superfood, junkie on Instagram with the widen your reach, but the coach needs to understand that we need to market the superfoods. The second part of this is our second product is business. Okay, we have the opportunity to offer the business to our network. And as the coach, we want to understand the business of network marketing. Okay, we must educate ourselves and instill a culture that strives to be educated on the business of network marketing. And that means acquiring mentors, reading books, but really just understanding the business of network marketing, because marketing those superfoods happens the best when you're utilizing the product of business, which basically means bringing on brand partners to help you achieve the reach, the marketability of the superfoods. So we have two products. One is superfoods, one is business. Coach is really aligned to what those means. And you can hear like it's a little bit more of a stricter standpoint than the captain. third role, manager. Okay. So once again, I'm speaking from the aspect of a crown. Okay. A crown. And also as a coach and a manager, you know, the coach and the manager, they're not completely focused on what happens on the field. They also understand that there's stuff going on in the background, and they understand that there's money that makes the whole show go around. And so the manager needs to make sure and aligned to the fact that a crown organization is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Okay, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You take 150,000 points required to be a crown, and if you do the math, it looks like a point equals 1.3 to 1.4 dollars each point. You subtract the amount of widen your reach points and the $500 UBT points. You subtract those points, and you can times the amount of points in your organization by, let's just say 1.35 to be safe, and that will be an assessment of your value of your business. So if you're a diamond or even an executive or a consultant, if you can figure out the money made in your business, and you can imagine the manager is doing that stuff. And the reason for you to know the value of your business is so that you can personally step into that value. Okay. A diamond organization, for example, 15,000 points, right? It consists of maybe a few executives, 15,000 points. Let's say they're doing $22,000 a month. $22,000 a month is a pretty high functioning business. If you just think about your own neighborhood, the yoga studio is grossing. So these are gross sales I'm talking about. The yoga studio is grossing, you know, somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 a month on average. So that's like diamond level. You're a legitimate business. And as a legitimate business, the manager wants to make sure that everyone's showing up as that. Okay. And that might be little aspects, like maybe suggesting to your team that wearing a tank top when you're doing a three-way call with an onboarding client might not be the best thing. And so there does need to be a certain management aspect in us to make sure that you know, the phone call gets called, you know, to hold people accountable, so that the legitimate business, whether it's $10,000 a month is the value of your business, or $200,000 or $1 million a month is the value of your business, there does need to be somebody kind of watching and making sure that the systems that are put in place, whether it's utilizing Purium systems or everybody agreed to get on a Leslie Zann challenge, whatever it is, like we do want somebody there managing. And then the cheerleader could be fun for a lot of people. So we have captain, coach, manager, cheerleader. The cheerleader is necessary, holding the hands of people, making sure that their goals, that they're aligned to their goals. Okay. And that when things get difficult, it's like reminding people about what their why is. All right. And so captain, coach, manager, cheerleader, necessary if you're a crown leader. Okay, these things are necessary for professional organization to work both in sports and in network marketing. It's just in network marketing, it's best that you understand what aspects of you that you can supply to each four of these aspects. So that's number one. Leslie, did you want to jump in, or should I just move on?
Actually, looking at the time, this is also good. I'm just going to have you move on, Rod. It's so
Okay.
good. And I'm following the chats and they're absolutely digging it.
And that was the longest one, I believe. So
You're
not all of
good.
them are going to be that long.
You're good. It was so good.
Okay. Okay. So number two, high attachment is not what I wanted to say. High intention, low attachment is what I wanted to say. High intention, low attachment. So these are both two very important concepts. I pair them together because it just works beautifully on everything in your life. You can have striving to have the highest intentions with the lowest amount of attachments, right? Not being specifically attached to an outcome. And just in life, usually what we think we're going towards usually isn't where we end up. And usually where we end up is even greater than what we even intended for, because our intentions are usually low of what is possible for ourselves. And as a leader of an organization, I'm going to start with the attachment thing, because that seems to be what I see a lot of people struggling with, which is looking into the organization and having these thoughts of, why aren't these people working? What, like, almost getting frustrated. This person said they would do this and they're not doing it. I want to let you guys know that if anybody in your downline feels that you are disappointed, angry, upset, attached to their success only because of your success, then you will have zero ability to influence or persuade them, because they know that your influence and persuasion only has to do with your goals and not their goals. And so really having a low attachment to outcomes, especially your brand partners' work ethic, goals, what they actually do day to day is super important. I want to share with you guys. It took me, and I was going to share this later on, but I just want to give you guys an example. It took me 5 years to be enrolled. Knowing about Purium took me 5 years to finally say yes. And then it was about 8 months before I was actually like doing anything of value. And at no point during that time did I feel pressure from my upline. Not a single moment during that time. And there's people that might not do anything for years, and you don't want to kick them out the door. All right. Be the part of the equation of their success. I'm letting you guys know that if you're attached to the point where you actually make them feel bad for not doing something, the part of the equation of them getting the crown is pretty much gone. Okay, it's gone. So you don't want to cancel out them. All right, so now let's talk about the positive stuff. High intention. All right, two quick stories. Yes, in China, and I think Russia and a couple other countries, they actually measure the kids in school, like when they're 8 years old to 12 years old, to find the perfect proportions of limb length, right? From elbow to wrist, from fingertip to elbow, the size of their feet, the shape of their arches, all of that matters. And it puts these kids, they take the kids out of school and they put them with coaches specifically based on the proportions of their body to allow them to be best at a specific sport. So wrestlers have different proportions, tennis players have different proportions, volleyball players have different proportions. They measure the kids and then they pair them with coaches, all right? And the coaches know that this child has perfect proportions to be a gold medalist, okay? And then they start from that intention. And however good or bad morally that is, it's just a beautiful stance to be able to take as a coach. Okay. I've got the cream of the crop. They have what it takes. All right. And there's another story, the self-fulfilling prophecy. I studied psychology in school, and self-fulfilling prophecy is one of the first things you learn. And the classic example of that is the beginning of the school year. They go up to the teachers. They go up to a whole bunch of different teachers and they say, hey, these 5 students scored top 1% of the IQ test that we gave them. And these 5 students scored bottom 5% of the IQ test that we gave them. And they just give this information to the teachers. And at the end of the year, they go back and they look at what everyone did. And the kids that scored higher in the IQ test did better attendance, better liked by their peers. Everything was good. Kids that scored low in the IQ test, everything was bad, right? Of course you would think so, except that the children that were told that were selected at random. There was no IQ test, okay? It was the teacher's intention for the kids, knowing this faulty information, that allowed these certain kids to strive and the other kid not to, because there was a coach, there was a teacher, there was a leader intending certain things from them. And so high attachment we want to be that teacher. We want to be the teacher to the genius kids that are in your organization. Now, without being attached with their success, we just want to be able to make sure that that part of the equation is there. And the thing is, we ask questions to our downline, and most of the time, we want to be feeding to them why they have the perfect proportions for network marketing. If they talk a lot, hey, people that talk a lot do awesome in network marketing. Guess why? Because they do. Okay, everyone has their perfect beauty within network marketing. It's up to you to find that with people and be their affirmations. Okay, just like we were just talking about earlier, a power plant doesn't have energy. The people coming in our organizations most likely aren't going to be perfect postured leaders. They have to be cultivated by who? By you. Okay, it's not anyone in your upline. You take the responsibility of cultivating your human made organization into a bunch of leaders. And that's going to fall on you to affirm these people, because what? They're going to come with limiting beliefs, as we all have. My best friend, that I was hanging out with a lot a few years ago, he's a photographer, and he told me that people's most beautiful trait, the thing that makes them stand out when he takes pictures of them, like let's say they've got a big chin, all right? He's taking pictures of a guy who has awesome chin. He notices that everybody who like their most beautiful thing that he wants as a photographer to showcase, they learned through their entire life to posture themselves to hide the thing that makes them most beautiful. Why? Because in that person's mind, they're different. Okay, every room they walked in, they're hiding their nose. They don't like the way that their eye looks on one side. They learn to put their hair over their eyes. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. You have these aspects on your own self, and him as a photographer would tell you that the weird ways that your fingernails look that you think is weird is actually your most beautiful aspect. So everyone's coming into your organization, they have their own limiting beliefs. I don't talk right. I don't, all of these things, usually the limiting beliefs that they come with, usually you can let them know that this is your strength. Yes, it's fine that you're a construction worker. Why? Because there's many other people that are depending on you to get to the other side, right? If we can figure out to get you to the other side, you're going to be the perfect person to light up the way for everybody else who you think is like you, who maybe they think aren't good enough to be on this side, to be on the side of the haves versus the have-nots. Okay, so that was just an analogy of something a lot of people feel not good enough to be good, and we say, no, you are good enough to be good. And everyone else who doesn't feel that, you're going to be the perfect rock star to represent them. Let's get going. So be the affirmations for your downline. Be the person, be that teacher, be the coach, be that coach in China who's developing the golden medals. And if they don't do it, that's fine. That's completely fine. But in order for the equation to be met, you have to be the one who believes in them. Okay, number 3. So number 1 was captain, coach, manager, cheerleader. Number 2, high intention, low attachment with your team and yourself. Number 3, think bigger than immediate tasks. Okay, so I've got 2 parts on this. Number 1, always be willing to think bigger than the always be willing to think about what's possible rather than what's probable. Okay, so if you're making your maps of what it's going to take for Joey, Sammy, and Sally to reach executive, and then when they do that, you're going to reach a certain rank. But if you're focusing on them reaching executive, and you're doing that at the beginning of the month, and you're having that conversation with them, what's probable, you're talking to them about their directors, and you're talking to them what's probable. If you do this, you can achieve executive. Be willing to go the extra step to let them know what the fantasy scenario is, okay? The what's possible scenario. Okay, we know what it takes for you to get to executive. Let's talk about diamond now. Okay. Always be willing to, the immediate task is executive. Somebody, okay, this goes back to the high intention. Somebody has to be letting them know that impossible scenario. You guys who have grown through the ranks, you remember how hard it was just to get to consultant and director. And when you found out that getting to director, is 2,500 points, and then somebody said, now let's get to executive. And you're like, what the heck? That's impossible. And then once you got to executive, diamond, 15,000. What? How does anyone do this? And my points go back to zero every month. You remember these thoughts, right? Most likely your downline will have no intention to get to the next rank. And that means that if you don't have that intention, it is impossible. So be willing to focus more on what is probable and go to what's possible. Second, this is about thinking bigger than the immediate tasks. I was once at a seminar and somebody got on stage and he laid out beautifully the difference between your net worth financially and what you can spend. Okay. And he didn't label it that way. That's how I received it. There's a difference between how much money's in your bank that you're able to spend and your net worth. Your net worth could consist of investments, and you bought an apartment complex, you have this other side business, and you have this business, and there's a whole bunch of things that go into net worth. And focusing on net worth rather than just achieving money to spend, the whole thing was about focus on the net worth, not on the money to spend, because you'll just end up spending it all. And you're not focusing on making your entire asset collection very, very valuable. And I also took that and I translated that into net skill set. Okay, remember, this point is think bigger than immediate tasks. It's up to you as a leader to explain and make it digestible to your people that it's not just widen your reach campaign so you get 33 points and 500 points at the end of the month, or 600 if you're new. That's the immediate task, but it's increasing their skill set, right? Focus on net skill set. When you do this, you will learn to speak into a camera. Do you know what it took me to speak into a camera? I had a business partner and we did this course that I filmed and it flopped because I didn't know how to speak into a camera. And so he lost, because he put up the money, somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 on trusting me to fulfill a task that I wasn't good at. Okay. After that happened, I said, all right, I'm going to make a video every single day I was supposed to be 365 days, but I only made it 94 days, but I made a video every single day and I posted it on Instagram where I had to stare at the black hole in my phone. And I made a video. It's called Practice of the Day. And I was just giving people practices to do every single day. And that got me over this hurdle that I had of speaking to the camera. Widen your reach is the same thing. Okay. And now I can talk to giant groups of people like I am right now. Okay. Widen your reach is the same thing. Let people know, in order to be a crown, in order to be a diamond, you must be publicly speaking about this. That is going to be a prerequisite for this. And let them know that developing the skill sets are what's important. Same thing with, the icky things that people don't really like to do in the beginning, enrolling people into your vision. That's why we do the skill of enrollment in the beginning. We enroll people into the vision that we have of their health, and we use these products to do it. And we enroll people into the vision that we have of potentially them being their own business leader, and we use Purium to do that. So if we can learn to speak bigger than the task at hand and let people know why, like several steps deeper than what we're trying to get them to do, back to the enrolling thing, right? You guys know these people, Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King, right? What were they good at? They were good at enrolling people into their vision. Okay, I have a dream, and the dream is this. That is a vision. And he enrolled everybody into the vision. And there's a very specific way that he did that. And the reason why I mentioned Steve Jobs is because Steve Jobs copied that speech where he basically talks about his vision and what is now, his vision of what's possible, what is now. You know, like this is the phones now, this is the phone that we have. These are the iPods now, this is the iPod on the iPhone. This is, you know, the internet searching, you know, capabilities of a BlackBerry. This is the internet searching capabilities of an iPhone. So vision, enrolling people into your vision are what great leaders do good. They're well crafted at enrolling people into a vision. And so speaking to your new people about that, we're enrolling people into your vision. We're not just enrolling people into business, enrolling people into a 330 superfood pack. Okay. We're learning how to be great speakers, great presenters. Why is that important? Because once you have a team, you're going to need to enroll them into a greater vision than a $330 pack. You're going to be needing the skills necessary to enroll people into the vision of a career in this. Okay. And enrolling people into a career in this is a little bit more difficult than enrolling people into a $330 pack. So we start enrolling people at this vision. And then the whole thing is about enrolling people into your vision. Number 4. So number 3, once again, think bigger than immediate tasks. It's up to you to just dig deep. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're promoting, dig deep. Think about the whys. And then about the why, make sure you and your team's why isn't only tied to a finish line. In number 5, we're going to talk about the finish line. But number 4, make sure that your why isn't tied to a finish line. So when we ask, when the people get enrolled, what's your why? It's like, oh, I want to buy a house for, you know, my wife and I and my kids, and I want to be able to put them into a good school. Okay, that's all good. That's all in the future. And we'll talk about that. But we want to make sure that people's why is also tied to the daily and weekly methods of operations necessary to be running a Purium organization. Because if your present duties, if you don't have a why attached to why that's serving you, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get through the sticking points of this business. All right. This business just doesn't do this, right? We know sometimes an entire, there's just like all businesses, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And there's a lot of confusion and maybe loneliness and your parents saying, why are you selling weight loss pills? There's things that happen. And if you're just focused on some future scenario where you're buying a house, that's so far away. Make sure that your organization and yourself are aligned to why what they're doing today is serving them. And that might take some work, that might take some discussion, some conversation, some really digging into what's important with these people. An example of myself, what's important for me, what's in most of these books back here. You know, I studied psychology in school. I ended up owning gyms, and, you know, in the meditation world and yoga now, also all of that has to do with serving people, helping people, teaching people how to be, you know, and let's just say, for lack of a better words, better. Okay. I really don't like the way that sounds because I'm just supporting them in their own growth, but just for lack of better words, supporting people and being better. And it took me, like I said, 5 years to get involved in network marketing, 8 years before what? Before I had the breakthrough where I realized that everything in network marketing is exactly that. I've been studying about it for 20 years, how to teach people, how to lead people, what people need, how to persuade people, influence, presentation. All of this stuff is available for me within a Purium business every single day. The thing that I'm most interested in is here now. It's not when I get the big paychecks, that's when I'll be happy. It's, oh, wow, everything I've ever hoped for in my entire life, I can do every single day with this. And at that breakthrough, when I hit that realization, once again, 5 years plus 8 months late, like when that happened, everything changed. Everything. My organization 10x in 5 months after that breakthrough moment. So why am I saying this? Because it's going to be worth your effort to get people to that breakthrough moment as quickly as possible. It's going to be worth your effort to get yourself to that breakthrough moment. It means, what are you doing every single day in network marketing and aligning yourself to that? Okay. If you don't believe in what we're doing, very likely it's you're going to stay in that limbo place that was before the breakthrough. And it's very likely, this was just my personal example of why I'm aligned to this. But whatever you're aligned to, a lot of people are aligned to making money. I personally am not. Like I said, $150,000 here or there. Like, I can make money in many different aspects. What was important to me is that I'm serving. Okay. So for me, that's important. For many other people, it's going to be different things. Be the person that helps people see, to be aligned to their why now, not just in the future. Now, let's talk about, there's some other stuff, but I'm gonna talk about number 5. Let's talk about how to get to that finish line. Okay, how do you get to that finish line? It's very simple. You want to make sure that your primary focus in life is this. And it doesn't mean time. I'm not saying what you're spending the most time on is this. You can spend more time on your 9 to 5 job that you have to go to 40 to 50 hours a week, including drive time. But there's a difference between going there, like spending all of your mental energy trying to be the best employee possible so that you can get that dollar raise at the end of the year, rather than going there to get the money to pay the bills. And when you get off work or laid off because of Corona, your vision, your intention, and everything is on something else. Okay, now let's talk about how to find that something else, and if network marketing with Purium is that something else. So I actually just made an Instagram video today on this. So I've got the 5 steps. So how to get to the finish line, how to achieve the goals in your life. And network marketing ties into this because it, from my aspect, helps people align to their goals better than anything else. So number 1 on this tool is that you would write down what you are currently doing within 24 hours every single day. What are you trading your time doing? Okay. What are you trading your time doing? You're sleeping, you're eating, you're playing video games, you're watching Netflix, you're on Instagram. How many hours are you doing this on average every single day? You're hanging out with your friends. You might be practicing a skill. You might be reading. You might be educating yourself. Write down everything that you're doing on a regular 24-hour day. Then look at that. Maybe you're working a 9 to 5 job. Then look at that. And then prioritize what you are currently prioritizing. What are you currently prioritizing? What are you thinking about? What are you worried about? Rank them even. Are you staying up till 2 a.m. reading? Because that ranks higher than sleep. Okay. Step number 2, step number 2 is ranking them. Step number 3, make another list, put down goals. And I like Leslie Zann's framework of the 7 attributes of goals, which is, let's see if I can remember this: mental, spiritual, relationships. You guys can write this down: mental, spiritual, relationships, career and money, adventure, recreation, and giving back, being of service. So those 7 aspects, which would be very good for goals in your life, you can write those down. You can write down what each one of them means. How do you want to be better mentally? Then step number 4, you want to look at your list of the things that you're doing every single day and determine which one of these things are going to meet the most of these goals. And as, like, the money thing actually allows you to do everything else. So when you look at the things that you're doing every single day, which ones of these things allow me to do the most of the goals? And network marketing with Purium allows just about all of us to do everything that we want to do. If we can make this part of our list of the things that we're doing on a 24-hour day, if we can amplify that and make that a priority above all else, if we can focus in on that, become the best at that. So we want to rank what out of your list of things that you're doing every single day has the best ability for you to reach your goals. And that's how you will start to align your mind to figuring out what it takes to make it work. Whatever is secondary in your list, your body and your mind and your subconscious is going to it's going to dismiss it. Okay, so if primary focus is your 9 to 5, it's very unlikely that you're going to care that much about Purium. Okay, so you want to look, does 9 to 5 satisfy all the goals? If not, you might want to think about switching it to something that does. And as I said, Purium, for most people, for myself, allows us to reach all those goals. So I just want to recap on what the 5 points that I went through was captain, coach, manager, cheerleader. Okay, make sure you've got all of those aspects of yourself working, and work on the ones that you're strong at, and just manage, make sure that there's something's filling in the blanks of what you might not be strong at, even if it's somebody in your upline. Number 2, high intention, low attachment with yourself and your team. Number 3, think bigger than the immediate tasks. Think about the whys, the deeper levels of why we're doing the immediate tasks. Number 4, make sure your team's why and your why isn't only tied to the finish line. And then step 5, make sure that people in your organization know how to prioritize their time each day to reach their goals. Very few people in our life teaches us that. Okay, teachers don't really teach us that, our parents don't really teach us that. It's all about fitting into the system, so we get to be the one that teach people this stuff. Okay, Leslie.
That was so good. Okay. So what I would love to do, you did crush it. Total crush it. I would love to go to the field and have you put in the chat. I know you're sending them lots of love. Along with the love, I'd love to hear some takeaways. What was a takeaway? What was something you heard tonight that you're going to put into practice, or has shifted the way you think about things, or has given you a new way to consider or look at your business? All right. Be a coach, be a cheerleader, ranking. Um, Part 1, the coach, captain, cheerleader. Don't tie it to the finish line. Think bigger than the immediate task. High intention, low attachment. Do it scared. Make sure my team and I aren't just, it's going too fast. Connected to the end why. How to get to the finish line. Possibility over probability. Make sure my why includes my short-term goals. Access the list. Don't tie the why to the finish line. Daily, weekly, monthly whys. Practice prioritization. High intention, low attachment is so good. Like they really heard you, Rob. They really heard you and picked up so many. Time block, next skill set, listing what I do in 24 hours. Practice, practice, practice. Teaching time management. What I'm most interested in is in the now. This is so good. It's going too much, too fast. All right. Captain, cheerleader, manager.
I
Those are
like that captain, cheerleader, manager. That's evolved in my own head over the last few
so
months.
good.
The manager actually just came, the manager is new.
Yeah. Being the captain, if you're ever the captain of a team, and they choose, usually your peers choose you as the captain, right? So you've got the captain, you've got the manager, you've got the
The cheerleader also can be the
yeah,
fans. Okay, not
right,
every sport
right,
has cheerleaders, but you want to be the fan for your organization.
right. And then the coach, the main dude. Yeah, it's so good. All great analogies. Okay, so everything, and it's 7 o'clock, and I want to be conscious of this. Everything Ron and I've done tonight is to give you a sense of not only where we're going and how the spark is being lit, and the importance of creating the mindset, no matter where you are, brand new, middle of the pay plan, top of the pay plan, the importance of developing that mindset of a crown and following all of these tips as you move in that direction. So none of this is random. We're trying to take you on a journey through January to give you all the tools necessary as we move through first quarter, and as a company, as a field, as a community, create a foundation that's going to be strong and solid and stable as we build record-breaking growth as we move into 2021. Ra, I want to give you a big heads up. As always, you did a fabulous job. And as you're reading all the chats, they dug it, they heard you, they know you see them, and you've really given them such super knowledge to move forward. And I appreciate it very much. And I'm not surprised at all. I expected nothing less. All right, my friends. So this was tonight. Put what you learned into practice. You can listen to the replay of this call. And what's going to happen next week? Well, first of all, what's important now? Win. What's important now? We're going to focus on UBT 2021, set a goal. You're going to qualify 1 week this month, 2 weeks this month, 3 weeks this month. Okay, UBT 2021, fast start, widen your reach, put the system into practice. Monday, I want you to join Amanda and Debbie as they continue to give you the information to help you disperse it to your field so that you understand what's going on. And then next Tuesday, my buddy Sonia and I, 4-star crown, Sonia Magruder and I are going to put a fresh, fun, new spin on the fundamental skills that duplicate and drive business faster than ever before. So that's going to be next Tuesday. And tomorrow, I want you all to come on for the New Year's resolution call tomorrow night. That's going to be led by 2-star crown Cindy Kelly. So we're doing everything we can to give you everything you need to move this business forward. Systems, training calls, guest-driven events, and all the field leadership support that we can. This is an exciting time. Please don't take it for granted. Please claim your business. Participate for your sake, not for my sake, for your sake. All right, my friends. Super call, Rob. Appreciate it. Always enjoy working with you. And for everyone that came on board, there might be, did we put the winners in the first time I remember actually for winners. And I think what I told him to do, since I never remember to call on the winners, I told him to put them in the chat. Okay. Thank you, Rodney. He put them in the chat. Kelsey Stewart, Alicia Bovis, Rachel Hollis, and Teresa Lopes. You earned 500 UBT points for being on the call tonight. At the peak that I saw, we had 273 people on the call tonight. Well done. I still think we should be having 500 people on this call, knowing how many people are there and knowing the value, knowing the content that are coming out of these calls. So continue to drive and support people to come to these calls, because I will tell you, we will not let you down. You get your team here and we will deliver. And I think Ra was a perfect example of that this evening. All right, my friends, have a great week. See you tomorrow night with your guest-driven events. Cindy Kelly is going to hit a home run. Have a super week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Mahalo, aloha, gracias, buenas noches, and I will see you all next week. Rob, outstanding.
Thanks for the airtime.
Yep, super good. All right, my friends, let me turn out the recording.